Truth-Censored number 35, and it's Medical Freedom of Choice Part 2. Shall it be provided by law that they must consult none but Roman physicians? And shall everyone be bound to live according to their prescriptions? In June of 1986, alternative health care advocates and those who believe in medical freedom of choice asked members of Congress to have the Office of Technology Assessment investigate and report on alternative cancer treatments, especially the immunoaugmentative therapy provided by Lawrence Burton, Ph.D. Representative John Dingell, Democrat of Michigan, and some 45 other members of Congress commissioned the Office of Technology Assessment to describe the general nature of alternative cancer therapies and the theoretical bases underlying these therapies, to estimate how many Americans seek these therapies, and to develop guidelines for evaluating their medical value. 3 years and over 500 pages later, the Office of Technology Assessment produced a cover-up. The first draft produced mild criticism of orthodox failure with a hatchet job on non-toxic alternatives. Helene Gelband, the project director, was hopelessly biased. The report was a farce and a tirade against alternative healing methods. Jonathan Cullen, MD, an advisory panel member, said that positive data on conventional therapies was often presented as maybe, and negative data are highlighted, often being the last word. Michael Lerner, Ph.D., another panel member, said the report was unduly negative about the nutritional and spiritual approaches to treating cancer patients. Others called the report a compilation of slurs and charges from the far wing of the enemy camp, combined with a determined disregard for all favorable dating. It was said the document was teeming with errors and unsubstantiated innuendos. The report was called incompetent, severely biased, an adversarial review of the subject, presenting misinformation on every major point. This draft of the report stated that in all the world medical literature, only one abstract favoring alternative cancer therapy could be found. When, at the press conference, Office of Technology Assessment was presented with volumes of favorable studies, which the Office of Technology Assessment staff had in their possession, the Office of Technology Assessment extended the time and scope of the study. No changes were made to the project staff. The 1990 draft carries the art of distortion to a level rarely approached by responsible agencies. Supporting studies are belittled. Independent, corroborative studies are ignored. The report is comprehensive regarding negative information slurs, and baseless innuendo. There were no rebuttals to negative information. The report lied about Dr. Stanislaw Brzezinski, Dr. Ravici, and Linus Pauling. The report committed a good writer's worst sin: omission. The draft contained over 200 errors, distortions, misrepresentations, and outright deceptions. After much opposition to this report, the Office of Technology Assessment went back to the drawing board to produce its latest draft, which contained only about 120 errors. In the latest draft, quackbuster Grace Powers Monaco's credibility has been compromised. Now, if Aetna Insurance Company had half a brain, it would dissolve its relationship with Grace Powers Monaco. It is social pests like Grace Powers Monaco who are the quacks, not the good doctors that they harass with gimmicks like having insurance companies not pay bills. It is clear that the project staff must go. A fair report will not be forthcoming unless this occurs. The report must be done again. All the evidence must be given a fair hearing. There must be checks and balances. Politics must not play any part in the process. What happened here? In 1986, People Against Cancer and others got Congress to have the Office of Technology Assessment do a study of alternative cancer methods. The Office of Technology Assessment staff proved to be biased, and the report became political propaganda against alternative medicine. The same kind of nonsense that spews forth from the American Medical Association, the American Cancer Society, and the National Cancer Institute daily appears in this report. It was clear that this would happen. Unorthodoxy continues to grovel and seek legitimacy at the feet of orthodoxy. But that is not how the world works. Unorthodoxy must stand on its own. Of course, orthodoxy must be prevented from crushing unorthodoxy through force of law. One can't go to one's enemy for help. Orthodoxy must be toppled from its high ground and vanquished, or made a partner. Balance must prevail. Orthodoxy's stranglehold on the medical marketplace must be broken. Unorthodoxy must prevent orthodoxy from continuing its unholy alliances with politicians. The world must be made right. This year, over 1 million people will get cancer, and over 500,000 of them will die. The age-adjusted cancer death rate has been increasing since the 1950s. Orthodox medicine has lost the war on cancer. In 1971, cancer became an industry. This industry is controlled by egocentric, greedy captains of industry. An old boys network grew up around positions and grant money. Correct treatment, even when it kills the patient, is all that matters. A bizarre fantasy took hold of the minds of those in the cancer industry that the cure for cancer could only be discovered at a huge government-supported hospital or research center. Unorthodoxy threatens all of this, upsets these unholy ideas. Some of these orthodox despots abuse their power to keep unorthodoxy at bay. For decades, orthodoxy has tried to wipe unorthodoxy out of existence. According to orthodoxy, they know all the answers, and alternative doctors are quacks. Quack, 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 quack. Insurance industry apologists like Grace Powers Monaco want to use our tax money to bust quacks. What emerges from all of this, when investigators do their homework, is that much of the time the quacks are curing cancers, and they turn out to be good, honest doctors. Like Ronald Reagan and Oliver North, the Grace Powers Monacos of orthodoxy want to suspend our Constitution. These people can't grasp the concept of freedom of choice. These people would be more at home in what was the Soviet Union. Medical freedom of choice is one of the rights reserved to we the people in the 9th Amendment to the Constitution. Medicine is an art. Its concepts change and evolve. Only God can be thought of as perfect. So why is it that unorthodoxy continues to grovel and ask the blessing of orthodoxy? Unorthodoxy keeps trying to seek legitimacy from unorthodoxy. Unorthodoxy, or complementary medicine, must stand or fall on its own. One can't seek help from one's enemy. No more David and Goliath encounters. Orthodoxy must be toppled. The professional witnesses like Victor Herberts of the world must be exposed for the ignorant morons that they are. Balance must prevail. The world must be made right. Orthodoxy must be prevented from abusing the legal system, which allows them to drag innocent doctors through the courts, which allows them to bankrupt their victims, just as orthodoxy did in the 1500s when it killed witches and confiscated their worldly goods. Orthodoxy's political stranglehold on the medical marketplace must be broken. In the case of the Office of Technology Assessment report, the project staff must go. The report must be done again. All the evidence must be given a fair hearing. There must be checks and balances. Politics must play no part in medical decisions. Our Our system of government is the best on this earth. But people can and do pervert the system. The system didn't cause Watergate or Iran-Contra or the war in Iraq. Insecure, out-of-touch Republicans did. With so many lives at stake, maybe the American people can find the guts to kick some butt, to shake up medical orthodoxy and throw the bums out. A more recent example of medical orthodoxy's bid for exclusivity in the nutritional arena occurred in September of 1990. By a suspension of the rules, the House of Representatives passed H.R. 3562, the Nutrition, Labeling, and Education Act. This bill would make it a crime to make a true statement or health claim about a food or nutritional supplement on its label or in supporting documentation. The penalties could be up to $10,000 fine and 3 years in prison. Under this bill, a panel of experts named by the Secretary of Health and Human Services would decide what claims could be made. All this was found in Section 3 of this very flawed bill. Orthodoxy never quits. State by state, year by year, Orthodoxy continues to get politicians to bring forth obvious restraint of trade bills to try and destroy complementary medicine. These blatant slaps in the face to the First Amendment continue to find political support. H.R. 3562 had been rammed through the House with the support of some unorthodox defenders, but they got caught. However, the bill is still headed for the Senate. It must be stopped. It must be killed. Some would have it amended, but one should not reward bad lawmakers. "200 years ago, Dr. Benjamin Rush warned us that the Constitution of this republic should make special provisions for medical freedom as well as religious freedom. To restrict the art of healing to one class of men and deny equal privileges to others will constitute the Bastille of medical science. All such laws are un-American and despotic." And Dr. Benjamin Rush was correct. The end. This reading is from Censored number 36, and it's entitled Medical Freedom of Choice, Part 3, the FDA. American medicine is in crisis. Conventional medicine has the law and the Food and Drug Administration on its side, but it lacks cures. Alternative medicine, or complementary medicine, has the cures, compassion, and successes with chronic illness. But medical politics and the law won't let them be. And the cancer problem is the focal point between them. Medicine is big business. Cancer care is big business. And the big drug companies pull the strings. California Representative H.A. Waxman has said, the drug companies evidently feel that they can get away with whatever the market will bear. The FDA is chartered to keep an eye on medicine and business in the public interests regarding food, drugs, and cosmetics. Yet, the agency has become politicized, gutless, and corrupt. Since 1929, the FDA has been battling the health food movement, and it has allowed big drug companies to get away with murder. The FDA lies, and it abuses its power. Doctors who are unorthodox or complementary and are successful in treating cancers are often bothered and bullied by the FDA. The agency pestered Dr. L. Burton, whose clinic was in the Bahamas, and it was illegally shut down due to a fake AIDS scare. Authorities said his serum for cancer patients contained the AIDS virus. It didn't. Dr. Burton got his clinic up and running again, and the FDA harassed him by issuing import alerts directing the United States Customs Service and Postal Service to detain Dr. Burton's serum. This is but one example of the FDA's illegal and overbearing tactics. In the 1950s, the FDA burned several times the scientific books of cancer researcher Dr. Wilhelm Reich. FDA can lose files and have them turn up at a later date. There are no checks and balances operating at the FDA. The agency involves the Post Office, the National Cancer Institute, and the American Cancer Society in its unconstitutional activities. When more than a dozen people died as the result of taking an FDA-approved anti-arthritis drug, FDA finally had Eli Lilly withdraw the drug from the market. Using FDA-approved drugs can be hazardous to our health. The FDA believes that patients are fools. The agency settles questions of science by force. FDA regulations are constructed in ways that only the big drug company executives understand and can wade through those regulatory mazes. FDA is too close to the companies it's supposed to regulate. When the synthetic hormone DES became a problem, FDA responded slowly and inadequately. Contrast this with the way FDA moved in the contaminated tryptophan scare. FDA knew a contaminant was involved, but it used the opportunity to destroy the tryptophan market and badmouth the whole health food movement. Some have called the tryptophan scare a conspiracy, since the amino acid tryptophan and the antidepressive drug Prozac have much the same action in the brain of those suffering from depression. Was the tryptophan scare a deliberate action to boost the sales of Prozac? Is it coincidental that one of the largest makers of tryptophan stopped production 1 year before the scare? Some say they were warned something was going to happen involving tryptophan. The Food and Drug Administration took years to ban red dyes. The fact is, FDA is biased in favor of big drug companies and considers consumers' interests only secondarily. Scientists reported to Senator Edward Kennedy's subcommittee on Health and Scientific Research in 1974 that FDA was a pawn of the industries it's supposed to control. The Government Accounting Office found widespread conflict of interest within the FDA. 150 FDA employees owned stock in 27 FDA-regulated companies. 203 employees failed to file financial disclosure statements. In 1975, the FDA allowed GD Zero and Company to market cancer-producing drugs as a result of fraudulent data. Other companies also supplied false data to the FDA. FDA's mandate is to protect the public from unsafe and useless drugs, but enforcement has been one-sided. Without proof, FDA calls complementary doctors quacks. Yet it is extraordinarily lax in its treatment of big drug companies. There is a very lethal and dangerous partnership between the drug companies and the FDA, says Dr. Sidney Wolfe. The FDA almost never brings criminal charges against unethical drug manufacturers. Yet, FDA top dogs tingle with orgiastic glee when they move against vitamins or nutritional doctors. Selective prosecution? According to Gary Knoll, PhD, FDA has 15,000 complaints on file regarding Prozac. Even 1960s rock and roller Del Shannon committed suicide while being treated with Prozac. Yet the drug is still on the market. But if FDA gets one complaint regarding vitamins, it moves with all due speed. FDA has 5,500 complaints regarding NutraSweet, and it has yet to act. Still, FDA has warned a Pennsylvania egg company that sells high iodine-containing eggs to stop selling them or face seizure and blockage of sale. Iodine can reduce cholesterol. But FDA, without proof, claims the eggs create health concerns because of excessively high levels of iodine. Of course, the FDA does not define excessively high levels. To obtain these high iodine eggs, the hens are fed a feed supplement containing kelp, seaweed. FDA claims one of the adverse effects of too much iodine is goiter. But in fact, goiter is caused by too little iodine in the diet. FDA is proving to be a worthless government agency. It is time for the FDA to self-destruct or be seriously overhauled. Innovation is not encouraged by the FDA. The cancer drug BCG is not approved by the FDA, even though it works better than an approved drug. Drug companies do over $40 billion worth of business yearly in the United States. Billions of prescriptions are filled each year. FDA does not respect research done in other countries. Only large drug companies have the tens of millions of dollars to test new products for safety under FDA requirements. FDA uses our tax money to work in a conflict of interest relationship with the Pharmaceutical Advertising Council, where they hold meetings on how to get rid of the competition, the quacks. In many instances, our government does the research on a drug and then turns it over to a big drug company to reap the huge profits. Those in power in the FDA lie and are not subject to sunshine laws or the Freedom of Information Act. Once FDA put the snake oil salesman out of business, but now it has become the point man for the big drug companies. It is locked into drugs and 17-year patents. FDA now protects industry from the public. FDA deals with two categories of substances, foods and drugs. Today, FDA has blurred the boundaries between these two categories. Now, FDA can classify anything as a drug, even water. The 1976 Proxmire Amendment took away FDA's authority to regulate vitamins except for safety. It took FDA 14 years to come up with their latest strategies. To have vitamin makers spend tens of millions of dollars to test vitamins for safety. Vitamins can't be patented, so this will never happen. Thus, vitamins will never be tested for safety, and FDA can continue to move against them. In 1979, a panel recommended to the FDA that it take off the market such items as lecithin, inositol, selenium, zinc, and a host of other nutritional elements. In the past, each time the FDA tried this trick, it ended up with egg on its face. But using our tax money, it keeps coming back again and again. Every 10 years or so, FDA tries to rid our country of vitamins. Now, it is using the flaw in the Proxmire Amendment to regulate vitamins as to safety. We need a health care amendment added to our Constitution. Once and for all, FDA must be forced to keep its filthy, politicized hands off vitamins. FDA says if it prevents disease, it's a drug. Vitamin C prevents scurvy. B vitamins prevent pellagra and beriberi. Vitamin D prevents rickets. And none of these are drugs. The FDA does not uphold the law. It makes its own law. Vitamins are not drugs. They are elements of food. They are enabling agents that have beneficial effects. Drugs, on the other hand, are blocking agents with horrible side effects. Drugs can cause disease. They don't prevent disease. They only mitigate symptoms. The FDA's power over foodstuffs must be curtailed. In recent years, FDA has seized magnesium orotate, primrose oil, a source of gamma-linolenic acid, GLA, and calcium EAP, which helps MS patients. The agency has also gone after non-toxic nutritional elements that help AIDS patients, while allowing these same patients to take expensive and deadly drugs. Even though tests showed that Laetrile worked against cancer, FDA issued press releases stating it was no good. FDA is always crying and whining that tests of products must be double-blind. But no double-blind tests were ever done on surgery and radiation as cures for cancer. Chemotherapy also has never been shown to be a cure for cancer, and it's toxic as hell. Yet the FDA wants non-toxic alternative treatments to be double-blinded. Can we all say unfair? This is pure stupidity in action. April 10th, 1991, Congress called the FDA lax in its oversight procedures regarding bottled water, which contains contaminants not allowed in tap water. Why? Well, because the FDA spends too much of its time chasing vitamins. And keep in mind, according to FDA's definition, water is a drug. Wake up, America, and take back control of your government. Enough of the foolish Food and Drug Administration. It is time we got the bloated monster FDA off our backs. It's time for freedom of choice in medicine. And it's definitely time to leave vitamins alone. The end.
Hi, this is William Morrow. Are you one of those people who join a health club, and after they have your big, overpriced annual membership, you notice that you're on your own with little or no results even after all the promises? Then the website Personal Trainer is for you.
Thank you very much, William H. Morrow III.
So you lost another argument with a conservative, right-wing Republican. He talked over you. He screamed and yelled. He brought out the Bible. He thumped it. He quoted scripture to you. You were lost because you came at him with facts. Nothing but facts. And you expected that would make you look good. That would make you win the argument, but it didn't. You know why you lost the argument? You know why you're going to lose your next argument? Because you don't read Censored. Censored, the 30-year-old newsletter that shows you how to defeat a conservative. Read Censored, and you'll have all the ammunition you need. Every time you get into an argument with a right-wing conservative, so-called Christian. Censored, that's all you need. Read it, and defeat a conservative.
Greetings, listeners. Let me speak to you for a moment about the foundation of our entire organization, Newsletter Censored. It was founded by our mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, in 1977. It discusses the 5 taboos of American life: politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media and the press. It reveals the kind of truth that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? We are living in the end times, so in order to defeat a conservative and save America, you need Newsletter Censored. Go to www.newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form page, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription. This is James P. Madonna of Megalife 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet.